Khloe squinted out the airplane window as the city skyline emerged through a sea of clouds, glittering like a million diamonds under the afternoon sun. New York. It had been nearly a year since she had last walked its busy streets, and now, as the wheels of the plane touched down on the tarmac with a soft screech, a knot of mixed emotions tightened in her chest. Joy, anxiety, hope, all of it swirling in her like a storm. She had come home for a special reason. Her father's birthday. Rayford Steele, a man she had admired as a child, feared as a teen, and now barely understood as an adult. Still, she longed for one thing, a family reunion, if only for a day. The terminal bustled with activity as Khloe stepped onto the moving walkway, her phone already out. She dialed her mother, Irene, unable to hide the excitement in her voice. "Mom, I just landed. It feels so good to be back. How are the birthday plans coming along? Is he still clueless?" There was a pause on the other end. Irene's voice, when it came, was softer, sadder than Khloe expected. "Khloe, he's working. There's no party planned." The words hit her like a punch to the stomach. "What do you mean? He's flying today? On his birthday?" "I tried to get him to take the day off," Irene said gently. "He said he had a last-minute assignment. London, I think." Khloe didn't respond right away. Her mouth opened, then closed. So much for the big reunion. Disappointed but not defeated, she made a quick decision. "Then I'll wait for him at the airport. He has to come through the departure wing, right?" "Yes, but—" "I'll catch him. I have to see him." Khloe hung up and turned on her heel, weaving through the crowds with purpose. The departure terminal felt different, more transient, more emotional. Families hugged goodbye, lovers shared last kisses, and solo travelers stared into the void of their own thoughts. As she passed by Gate C-12, a voice rose above the ambient noise. A man preaching with conviction. He stood atop a plastic crate, Bible in hand, his voice raw with urgency. "The end is near. Repent. Seek refuge in the Lord while there is still time." Passengers gave him wide berth. Some looked amused, others irritated. One or two even looked frightened. Khloe rolled her eyes. She had grown up with religious rhetoric from her mother, but she had long since rejected it. Now, with irritation bubbling in her chest, she walked right up to the man. "Excuse me," she said sharply, "but can I ask you something?" The man paused, eyes narrowing. "Of course, sister. If your God is so powerful and loving, why would he let the world get this bad? Why threaten people with fear and fire to get them to follow him?" Murmurs rippled through the small crowd forming. The preacher started to reply, but Khloe held up a hand. "Actually, never mind. I already know. You don't have an answer that'll make sense to me." With that, she turned and walked away, her heart pounding from the confrontation. A voice called after her, "The truth will find you, sister." But she didn't look back. At the waiting area near Gate D9, she found an empty seat and exhaled. She stared out at the runway, searching for a familiar figure. "Bold move back there," came a voice beside her. She turned to find a man in his early 30s, casually dressed but sharp-eyed, with a hint of amusement in his smile. "I'm Buck," he said, offering a hand. "I've been sitting through that guy's sermons for 20 minutes. You saved me." "Khloe," she replied, shaking his hand. "Glad I could provide entertainment." They talked. At first, small things, delayed flights, overpriced coffee. Then deeper things, belief or lack thereof, the weight of expectations, the loneliness of being home but not feeling at home. It was easy, strangely easy, as if they'd known each other in another life. "Wait, there he is." Khloe stood, heart leaping. Rayford Steele, tall and broad-shouldered, strode to the terminal in full uniform. But he wasn't alone. A slim, well-dressed woman walked beside him, smiling too brightly. Khloe's smile faltered. Her gaze sharpened. "Is that Hattie Durham?" she whispered. She had heard the name before, a flight attendant who often worked with her father. As Rayford came closer, she stepped into his path. "Dad." Rayford blinked, surprised. "Khloe, what are you doing here?" "I came to surprise you for your birthday," she said, forcing a smile. "But you're busy." Flying to London, right? He nodded slowly, glancing nervously at Hattie, who lingered a few steps back. Chloe's eyes dropped to his hand. No ring. What happened to your wedding ring? Rayford sighed. Chloe, not here. Not now. Why not now? Because you're with her? She hissed. That's not fair, he snapped, then sighed again and handed her his car keys. I have to go. We'll talk later. He walked away before she could respond. Hattie gave her a brief, unreadable look and followed. Chloe sat back down, her hands clenched around the keys. Buck returned. That your dad? She nodded numbly. Rough one. Yeah. They sat in silence for a moment. Then he handed her his phone. Give me your number, in case you want to talk again. She hesitated, then typed it in. Thanks. He smiled. Take care, Chloe. As she left the terminal, a storm was already brewing inside her. This trip home wasn't going anything like she had imagined, but it was only just beginning. Chloe drove her father's car down the familiar suburban streets, hands gripping the steering wheel tighter than necessary. The conversation at the airport replayed in her mind over and over. His wedding ring missing, his abrupt departure, the undeniable closeness with Hattie, her father, who used to sing hymns on long drives and read bedtime stories with a voice full of character, now felt like a stranger. Her heart ached with confusion and disappointment. As she pulled into the driveway of her childhood home, the porch light blinked on automatically. The house stood as it always had, modest but charming, with ivy crawling up the brick walls and a wind chime that sang with the breeze. But now it felt foreign, a place too heavily coated in change. The front door creaked open before she even reached it. Her little brother, Kenny, sprinted out, arms wide. Chloe knelt, hugging him tightly, burying her face in his shoulder. For a brief moment, all the pain disappeared. I missed you, he whispered. I missed you more, she said, ruffling his hair. Irene stepped out next, wrapped in a soft, ivory cardigan, her hair pinned back neatly. Her eyes lit up with joy and something deeper. Peace, perhaps, as she reached for her daughter. Chloe, welcome home. They hugged, but felt stiff, like two people unsure how to touch after a long silence. When they pulled apart, Irene's eyes searched hers with maternal concern. You look tired. Come inside. I made herbal tea. Still not a coffee drinker, huh? Chloe said with a faint smile. Coffee fogs the spirit, Irene replied. Chloe sighed. This again. The inside of the house looked almost untouched. Same photographs on the wall. Same worn couch in the living room. But now, verses from the Bible were handwritten and framed alongside family portraits. Soft instrumental hymns played in the background. They sat in the kitchen. Kenny showed off his baseball trophy, recounting his game with animated gestures. Chloe clapped and cheered, genuinely proud. But her gaze occasionally drifted to her mother, who was watching them with quiet intensity. After Kenny ran off to play, Irene set a steaming cup in front of her daughter. I'm so glad you're here, Chloe. I've been praying for this. Chloe rolled her eyes. Can we not do this tonight, Mom? Please. I just want to talk, Irene said gently. Not argue. Chloe sipped the tea, mostly to buy time. About what? About the world. About what's happening. About God. I'm not interested. You used to be when you were little. I was a kid. I believed in Santa Claus, too. Chloe. No, Mom. Her voice rose. I'm tired of this. Every time I come home, it's like walking into a church. You preach. Dad disappears, and Kenny is stuck in the middle. Irene's face fell, but she stayed composed. It's because I love you that I worry. I know the world seems normal, but it isn't. Things are changing. People are turning away from truth, from salvation. The Bible warned us about this. Chloe stood abruptly, the chair scraping the floor. This isn't truth, Mom. It's obsession. You act like the end of the world is tomorrow. Irene didn't answer. She just looked at her daughter with sadness in her eyes. I need air, Chloe muttered. She stormed upstairs, grabbing her backpack and coat. Moments later, she descended the stairs quickly. As she reached the door, Kenny appeared, blinking up at her. You're leaving? Khloe crouched beside him, just for a little while. Can I come? She hesitated. He looked so small, so unsure. But she nodded. Yeah, come on. Outside, the air was crisp and the stars sharp in the clear sky. They walked in silence at first, heading toward the park near their house. Khloe tried to push away the argument, but it clung to her like static. Kenny broke the silence. Is Mommy okay? Khloe exhaled slowly. She's different. She believes in something really strongly, and sometimes that makes it hard to talk. She prays a lot, even for you. I know. I think she's scared. She cries at night. Khloe stopped walking. She cries? Kenny nodded solemnly. She prays for Daddy too, and me, and you. Khloe knelt, pulling him into a hug again. I love you so much, Kenny. I love you too. They sat on a bench near the swing set. Khloe leaned back, watching the stars. The silence wasn't awkward now. It was needed. And then it happened. A sudden gust of wind rushed past her, chilling her skin. She turned to say something to Kenny, but he was gone. Kenny. His clothes lay crumpled on the bench beside her. Her heart stopped. She looked around wildly. Kenny! She stood, spinning in place, shouting his name. No answer. All around the neighborhood, strange noises erupted. Screams, crashes, car horns blaring. Lights flickered in houses. Khloe ran toward the main street, heart pounding. Clothes. Everywhere. On the sidewalks, in cars, in yards. Empty. Still warm. A mother screamed from her front yard, holding a tiny onesie that seconds ago held her baby. A driverless car veered off the road and slammed into a tree. A bike rolled slowly to a stop. Its rider vanished. Khloe stumbled back, breath ragged. She looked down at her hands, shaking. This couldn't be real. It couldn't be. She grabbed her phone, dialing her mother. No answer. Again. Voicemail. She began to run, feet pounding the pavement. She had to get home. She had to find her. Traffic lights flashed erratically. Sirens blared in the distance. A helicopter hovered, its spotlight sweeping across the chaos. Khloe dodged panicked people, ignored the rising wails. When she reached the house, she burst inside. Empty. Mom! No reply. The TV was on, static buzzing. Irene's tea still steamed slightly on the counter. Her clothes were folded neatly on the kitchen floor. Khloe collapsed to her knees, a sob tearing from her throat. No, 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 no. She pulled out her phone again, this time dialing Buck. Still nothing. On autopilot, she grabbed a baseball bat from the hallway closet and left the house. Her instincts pulled her toward the church. She pushed open the large oak doors with trembling hands. Inside, candles flickered. A man knelt near the altar, sobbing. Pastor Barnes? She asked. He looked up, eyes red and swollen. I knew this day would come, he whispered, but I never really believed it. What are you talking about? Khloe demanded. Where are they? My mom, my brother? He shook his head slowly. Gone. Taken. The rapture. Khloe's breath caught. You mean that thing Mom always preached about? He nodded. I preached it too, every Sunday. But I never truly accepted it. I spoke the words but didn't surrender. I was a fraud. Khloe staggered back. You're telling me God took them? And left us? I don't know, he admitted. But I think, yes. And it's only going to get worse. Khloe turned, shaking, and ran from the church. The world was ending, and she was still here. Alone, far above the earth. Flight 228 cruised through the night sky. From the cockpit, Rayford Steele gazed out across the endless dark. Stars scattered across the heavens like ancient signals. Despite the calm hum of the engines and the routine checklists on his console, unease simmered beneath his practiced exterior. He thought of Khloe, of how she had appeared at the airport. Unexpected and clearly disappointed. He thought of Irene and how distant their lives had become, two orbits slowly drifting apart. And he thought of Hattie, the woman seated just behind the cockpit, unaware of the truth he'd been too much of a coward to tell her. First Officer Chris Smith had gone quiet since takeoff, focused on the dials and gauges. Rayford welcomed the silence. In the cabin, the mood was a mixed bag. Business travelers with laptops open, couples murmuring over shared playlists, a toddler dozing in her mother's lap. Somewhere near the rear, a group of students played cards while a man read aloud headlines from a newspaper, half-believed theories and political scandals falling on half-listening ears. Hattie Durham leaned against the galley wall, chatting quietly with another flight attendant. Her makeup was subtle, her uniform crisp, but there was a warmth in her eyes as she glanced toward the cockpit. "I still can't believe we're going to London together," she whispered to her co-worker. "This is a huge step for us. I think Rayford has finally come around." "Are you sure?" the attendant replied skeptically. "He's married, Hattie." "I know," Hattie said quickly, "but it's complicated. You don't see the way he looks at me when no one's around." Back at the front of the plane, Rayford heard none of this, but he could feel the emotional weight pressing on him. The deception, the distance from the man he once was, a husband, a father, a believer. Now, he wasn't sure what he believed anymore. He rubbed his temple. Altitude holding steady? Chris nodded. No turbulence in sight. Smooth so far. Suddenly, a strange flicker crossed Rayford's peripheral vision. He glanced over at the co-pilot's seat. Empty. Chris was gone. No sound. No struggle. Just gone. His uniform, headset, and notepad lay draped across the seat as if he'd melted out of existence. "Chris," Rayford shouted, eyes wide. He reached out, touching the uniform in disbelief. Still warm. "Chris." Panic surged. He grabbed the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Steele. Please remain seated. Flight attendants, report to the cockpit immediately." He burst from the cockpit and into the aisle. Passengers looked up, startled. Then the screaming began. Clothes. Dozens of seats had suddenly become vacant. Baby carriers empty but buckled in. Toddlers' pajamas crumpled in tiny piles. Phones, books, laptops left behind. The cabin was chaos. A woman wailed, clutching a small dress. An elderly man collapsed, sobbing into his hands. "Where's my wife?" someone screamed. Hattie reached the front, breathless. "Rayford, what's happening?" "I don't know," he said. "They're just gone." She turned, eyes wide, scanning the cabin. "Oh my God!" More screams. A man tried to open the emergency door, yelling that the plane was cursed. Hattie and another flight attendant tackled him, keeping him from doing something drastic. Rayford returned to the cockpit, forcing his mind into control. The plane was still airborne, but now unmanned. He gripped the yoke. "Mayday, mayday," he radioed. "This is Captain Rayford Steele Flight 228. I've lost my co-pilot and several passengers. Repeat, I've lost my co-pilot and dozens of passengers. Requesting immediate contact with ground control." Only static replied. "Is anyone there?" Silence. Then a garbled voice. Multiple disappearances, not isolated, all air traffic disrupted. Rayford stared at the console. Fuel was burning fast. He'd need a plan. In the cabin, Buck Williams clutched his phone, staring at a missed call from Khloe. He had tried calling back twice. No signal. Around him, chaos reigned. The woman next to him sobbed uncontrollably. "My baby!" He was right here. "In my arms." Buck leaned forward, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. "I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening, but you're not alone. I promise." Suddenly, another passenger stood, wide-eyed and shaking, a gun in her hand. "No one move," she screamed. "Where are my children?" Buck froze. Passengers ducked in their seats. The woman waved the gun erratically, hysteria rising in her voice. "This plane landed already, didn't it? You're all lying to me. This is a dream or a trick." Rayford heard the shouting through the cockpit door. He turned just in time to see Buck step into the aisle, arms raised. "Hey," Buck said softly. "You're scared. I am too, but this won't bring them back." The woman's hands shook. Tears streamed down her face. I just want to know where they went." Buck moved closer, still calm. I lost someone too. We all did. But we need you. Please put the gun down. After a long pause, she dropped it. Buck caught it quickly and handed it off to a flight attendant. A moment of silence followed. People wept, clung to each other. A woman from the back, dressed modestly with cross around her neck, stood slowly. This was foretold, she whispered. In the Bible. The rapture. What? Someone asked. Like the end of the world? Not the end, she said. The beginning of the end. Rayford closed his eyes, Irene's voice echoing in his memory. You'll see, Ray. One day you'll see. He turned back to his controls. More bad news. The fuel indicator was dropping faster than expected. And then, unidentified aircraft in our airspace, he muttered. No response. He leaned forward. A plane, straight ahead. Mayday. Flight 228 to unidentified aircraft. You are on a collision course. Please respond. No reply. The other aircraft was tilting downward, out of control. Rayford yanked controls. Passengers screamed as Flight 228 jerked upward. The two planes clipped wings with a sickening metallic groan. Buck looked out the window and watched the other plane spiral toward the ground. Was that unmanned? He muttered. Rayford checked the radar. More planes, no pilots. Hattie appeared in the cockpit. The passengers are terrified. I know, he said, and I'm running out of fuel. She hesitated. Then, softly, Rayford, what is happening? He turned to her. I think my wife was right. About everything. She stared at him, stunned. I'm married, Hattie. I should have told you. I have 2 kids, and a wife who tried to warn me this day might come. She blinked, taking it in. So this is it? The rapture? I don't know, but I know we have to land this plane. He turned the plane toward New York. Back on the ground, Khloe wandered the hospital halls in a daze. Empty cribs, wailing parents. A woman with bloodied scrubs collapsed beside her, muttering, They were just here, all of them. Khloe pushed open the pediatric ward doors. Every bed was empty. The world tilted beneath her feet. She walked out into the chaos of the street. Cars on fire. Looters. Sirens without end. And above it all, silence. No answers. Just the echo of a world unraveling. She opened her phone again. Still no messages. Then it buzzed. One message. Unknown number. It's me. Are you okay? The message glowed on Khloe's screen. Stark and simple. It's me. Are you okay? Her breath caught. Her fingers trembled as she typed back. Khloe, is this Buck? A pause. Then another message. Buck! Yes, I'm still on the plane. It's bad, Khloe. We're trying to make it back to New York, but Rayford says we're running out of fuel. He's trying to find a place to land. She read the words again and again, her mind still reeling from the unthinkable loss of her brother and mother. She now faced the possibility of losing her father, too. Not today. Not like this. Khloe, tell him I'm here. I'll find a place. I'll find somewhere to land. She tucked the phone into her pocket and looked around. The streets were chaos. Sirens screamed in the distance. A news helicopter buzzed overhead. Down the block, smoke rose from a crumpled car wedged against a storefront. But Khloe focused on the task at hand. She ran. Abandoned vehicles littered the road. She leapt over a fallen traffic light and spotted a delivery motorcycle with the keys still in ignition. No time to think. She jumped on and roared off into the night. She raced through streets she knew like the back of her hand, her mind calculating wide-open areas. School fields? No, too small. Highways? Blocked. Then she remembered an old private airstrip on the outskirts of the city, once used for local flight training. She veered off the highway, speeding past shattered glass and collapsed light poles. Her phone buzzed again. Buck! We're almost over New York. Rayford says he's got maybe 10 minutes of fuel left. He can't see a safe landing spot. Khloe, I found a place. I'm heading there now. We'll send coordinates. The airstrip came into view. A large, flat stretch, mostly overgrown with grass and weeds, but still intact. A few derelict planes sat at the far end. The runway lights, of course, were dead. Khloe parked the motorcycle and sprinted to a nearby hangar. Inside, she found an old gas can and a stash of flares. "Please let this work," she muttered. She doused strips of cloth with the fuel, then arranged them along the runway's edge. With a deep breath, she struck a match and lit the first one. It flared up instantly. One by one, she ignited the rest, forming a makeshift landing strip of fire and smoke. Her phone buzzed. "Buck," he sees it. "Heading your way. He needs you to guide him down." Khloe opened her compass app. She texted the coordinates. Above her, the stars had vanished behind cloud cover. But then, through the haze, she saw it. The blinking lights of the plane, descending fast. "Come on, Dad," she whispered. "You can do this." The plane rocked in the wind, dipping dangerously low. Khloe ran to the far end of the strip and waved her phone flashlight in wide arcs, trying to give them a visual. The landing gear touched down roughly, the tires screeching against the uneven ground. Sparks flew. One wing clipped an old fuel tower, but the fuselage remained intact. The plane shuddered to a halt. Khloe dropped to her knees in relief. A few seconds later, the emergency door burst open. Buck climbed down first, followed by Rayford. "Khloe," he called. She ran into his arms, sobbing. "You're alive. You're okay." "I'm so sorry," he murmured into her hair. "For everything. For not being there. For not believing. For leaving you and your brother to face this alone." She pulled back, eyes wet. "He's gone, Dad. Kenny, Mom," they both disappeared. Rayford looked away, grief breaking across his face. "I know. I saw it happen. Right in front of me." Rayford nodded. I think Irene was right. About the rapture. About everything." Buck stepped beside them, his expression solemn. "We lost half the plane. Families. Children. It's global. Every pilot I tried to contact went silent. Some airports are completely dark." Khloe sat down on the grass. "So what now? What do we do?" Rayford looked at the flaming runway, the burning horizon in the distance. "We survive, and we figure out what's coming next." "Mom believed in something," Khloe said softly. "She tried to prepare us. I never listened." Rayford put an arm around her. "Neither did I." They sat in silence, watching as the fires burned low, their glow flickering against the night sky. Then Khloe stood. "Dad, we need to find others. People like us. The ones left behind." Rayford nodded. "We will. But first we need rest. And we need to think. Carefully." Buck turned to the city skyline. "It's not over. Whatever happened, it's just beginning." Khloe followed his gaze. The skyline had changed. Fires dotted rooftops. Billboards flickered erratically. The world she had known was gone. But she was still here. So was her father. So was Buck. And maybe, just maybe, there was still time to make something of what remained. She took a deep breath. "This isn't the end," she said. "It's the beginning." Rayford squeezed her shoulder. Buck offered a tired smile. The three of them stood together in the smoke-streaked dawn. Somewhere in the distance, a church bell rang, and a new chapter began.